right, so we're on today 124, and the quote for today says, if you come to a fork in the road, take it. Do you like the road you're on right now? Why or why not? What do you do when you come to a fork in the road? How do you choose? So if you're following along, how would you respond to this? And let's see what I said. I'd say I generally like the road I'm on, even though I'm not sure exactly where it's headed, which I've mentioned this a few times before. When I come to a fork in the road, I typically deliberate a little on the choice, but not too much. Once I make a choice, I start moving forward. I just go with it. That is one thing that I like about myself. I wonder if I wrote about it. Let me just keep reading. I rarely ever look back or second guess myself. I just keep going. Thankfully, I don't feel like I've ever made any choices that were irreversible or that have led to any problems that couldn't be fixed. For instance, we're going to talk about this again. For instance, having a child. There have been times that I've looked back and realized that a different choice... Oh, this is talking about something different. Okay, so having a child is one of those things. Like, that would be something that would be irreversible. And I'm glad that I didn't do that back when I was younger. And then I said there have been times that I've looked back and realized that a different choice may have been better. In those cases, I don't dwell on things. I try to make the best of the situation and use it as a learning experience to choose better in the future. My path for the next couple of years is pretty clear. I'll be working on my PhD. Once that's finished, I will be facing a fork. But I'm already putting in the work now to research the different paths I may take so I can make the best choice. So yeah, that is one thing that I kind of like about myself is if there is a time to make a choice, I don't spend too much time dwelling on it and I just pick something and I go with it. There's no like fear of missing out. There's no like regret as to like, oh, I should have done this. You can't change the past. So I'm pretty good about just being like, well, I can't change the past. So I've just got to make the best of whatever I have now. So I guess let me see if I can think of an example. Like, I don't know, whenever I went to college, I didn't really, honestly, I didn't think too hard about like what I wanted to go to school for. I was just kind of like, well, I'm good at science. I like science. I actually started, I think, undeclared major and then ended up getting into biology and chemistry somehow because I think I wanted to go pre-med. And then whenever I went to Disney, I saw a flyer at school that offered this like Disney internship. I did a little bit of research on it. Went to the interview, got accepted. I was like, all right, I'm going. And after I finished school, that was when I finished my undergrad, I was like, okay, I don't want to go to med school anymore. But now what do I want to do? And I just was like, well, I'll study for the GRE and see what else I want to go for instead of going to med school. And I just kind of like took some time and then I was like, well, I'm interested in food and agriculture, but I don't know anything about like owning a farm or anything like that. So I don't know, AgEcon sounds good. I just like Googled like graduate programs for like starting a farm and what they had like nearby at the university. And I just happened to come across the lady who's my boss now. She was the person that popped up. And so I emailed her, said, this is what I'm thinking I might want to do. Like, is your program a good fit? And she was like, oh yeah. And you said you like travel and things like that. We actually have this international program. And so I was like, all right, that's what I'm doing. And I just went with that. And I mean, I could have picked a million other programs, but that was the one I picked. And so I just did it and stuck with it. And same thing now with the public policy. It's kind of like in my school, we didn't have, I could have gone to a different school. Several people from my program, my master's program, did go to a couple different schools. Most of them go to, I think, K-State or OSU to get a PhD in ag econ, but I didn't necessarily want to get a PhD in ag econ. And at my school, if people want to stay at my university, they'll either do environmental dynamics or public policy. It's pretty easy to just kind of like slip into those. And so I was just kind of like, all right, we're going to do public policy now. And so that's what I'm doing. And when I'm done with this, I'll probably just pick something else and then just follow through with it and just see what happens. So I don't know. I think for me, I think for most people, the best thing to do is like, if you've got a decision to make, try to make the best decision you can and then just don't look back. Don't think about like, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that. What's the past is the past. You can go back. Like I guess I feel like I'm still young because I feel like 40, like I don't feel like 40 will be a bad thing for me, but like at this point, I feel like I'm not even halfway through with my life. So whatever choices I make now, if I want to do something different, I still have half of my life to do whatever I need to do. So even 40, 50, like I think you still have time to do what you want to do. So yeah, I mean, I don't feel like I've missed out on anything. I'm glad that I've got my education, so I'll at least have that to fall back on. But yeah, I don't know. What do you do when you come to a fork in the road? Yeah, I just make a choice and just go with it. So at least that's how I've lived my life. I don't know if it's the best way, but it's what worked. It's what's worked for me, and I guess I'm pretty happy with where it's brought me so far. But anyway, that's what I have for that day. I will be back tomorrow with day 125.